Hello everyone, this is Bob Treemore. Today we'll be talking about Barry and Peloton take on your Deux Bike-Machina. And are we still climbing every mountain? Or are we starting to collect some do-re-mi? I think you caught on the two themes here. Year two for Barry. He was hired back in February 2022. Now we're close to February 2023. Year two is obviously a play of words on year two for Barry, and are we still climbing every mountain? Sound of music. We're going to come back to that, a little bit of a theme today. So the human brain is a miraculous organism. When I've been thinking about Peloton for the last month, something about a particular song, we'll get there in here in just a second, keeps playing in my head over and over and over and over again. And I can't get rid of it. I think we've all been there. I can't get rid of this song when I think about Barry and Peloton. So I had to include it. It doesn't have a strong relationship to what I'm talking about today, but we're going to talk a little bit of Sound of Music. And I actually wanted to play a little bit of a clip, but I'm not a professional YouTuber. I don't honestly understand the whole strike system and copyright this or that. So, gosh, I wish I could play. It's such wonderful music. I'm not a big showtunes guy, but Sound of Music, that's classic. You gotta love that. Anyway, Deux Bike-Machina. I talked about Deux because obviously Deux is French and what have you for two. And Deux-Machina is a popular phrase. Well, what does Deux-Machina mean? Surprisingly, it has a lot of relevance to what we're talking about today. An unexpected power or event saving a seemingly hopeless situation. How apt is this to get year two and Deux Bike-Machina in the same phrase? Because right now there is nothing but negativity surrounding Peloton. I don't say that lightly. It's not hyperbole. There's not a lot of positive momentum behind Peloton currently. So I think we are in a seemingly hopeless situation. I don't view it as hopeless. I'm a positive guy. And I'm a pro Peloton guy. Everyone knows that if you watch my videos. And this video, I mean, we're going to do a little bit of a year in review. And a lot of the events that took place over the last year have not been positive. There's not a lot of positive things to talk about, but we need to analyze what's out there. That's what I do. And if there was more positive things to talk about there, we would bring them up. Or if I was just simply a talking head pro Peloton, what do they call them? What do you call those people? I don't know. Ignorant fans who just love the brand no matter what. I'm not an ignorant fan who loves the brand no matter what. I love specific things about Peloton. I'm a strong supporter of Peloton, but I acknowledge that there are not some great things about Peloton. Anyway, let's get to the second theme in that top slide, where I talk about is Peloton still climbing every mountain? Are they going to collect some do-re-mi? They're going to say so long, farewell. Can we talk about some of my favorite things? It's a multitude of richness and sound of music when it comes to Peloton. I can't get it out of my head. I've tried. So I'm placing it on video today as a loosely based theme, and hopefully it will exit the gray matter below this hat. Here's one of the songs. And I wish I could play this, but I'm not going to risk it. I don't understand YouTube's algorithms, and I don't have a singing voice, so I will bless you all with simply reciting this. But if you have YouTube and you can watch this song is like a minute and a half. It's a great song. How do you solve a problem like Maria? This is, and I apologize. I'm not strongly familiar with Catholicism, so I may mistitle these folks in the picture here. I don't mean any offense, but I'm going to call the younger folks the sister nuns, and the wise older lady, I'm going to call her Mother Superior, because I think that's right. But they're in a nunnery, and the younger nun, after some tribulations with Maria, she's kind of reached the end of how she can deal with Maria. How do you solve a problem like Maria? And the wise, sage, knowledgeable, experienced Mother Superior comes back and says, younger sister, there are some things you don't understand. You don't have the wisdom. You don't have the worldly knowledge and experience that I have. But you have to trust me. And so I'm going to tell you. I'm going to reply with a rhetorical question to your Maria issue. How do you hold a moonbeam in your hand? You think I'm getting a little crazy here? To me, this makes I can't get this out of my head when I think about Peloton. How do you solve a problem like Peloton? How do you hold a moonbeam in your hand? Is there a way out? Does someone actually know the secret path to getting Peloton out of the situation that it's in? This Mother Superior, look at her face. She knows. She knows the path out. Does Barry have in the board meetings? Is Barry looking like this? Like, I got this. I got everyone. Just settle back, settle down, settle down, settle down. I don't need your balance sheets. I don't need your daily sales quotas. I don't need the store closings. I got this. I got the moonbeam. You don't understand how to hold it. I can hold it. Oh, this is such a great song. I wish I could play it. All right, let's get on with it, right? Let's enough of this silliness. We got to review 2022. And we're going to end up with this video with more questions than we have answers. I got to tell you right now. A lot of times we talk about specific topics and we go on an arc where we talk about the historical, the present, and the future. And to some extent, we're going to go through this arc naturally today. But the last part of that trifecta is going to be a little bit scant because I don't think any of us really understands the future for Peloton. And I think all of us are asking each other or asking ourselves, does Peloton understand the future of Peloton? That's the question I asked. I ask myself every day. I wake up. I said, do I understand Peloton better today than I did yesterday? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I also ask my question, does Peloton understand Peloton's future? And I'll be honest with you, more days I wake up thinking that Peloton doesn't know Peloton's future, which scares me a little bit as an investor, lesser as a member. And I come to these videos. If you've watched all my videos, I don't want to say I'm an investor first, but I'm an investor first and a member first. And that's my videos come from both of those places. These are not members only videos. I'm not here to talk about all the exciting apparel launches coming and what instructor is visiting what store, and I'm also not talking about their balance sheet and their income statement and how many subscribers they have. So I'm trying to find a happy medium place between investors and members. So I think one of the main themes, and I don't bring it up anywhere else in the video, but after the reign of Foley, we're now in Barryland. So we're now in, there was before Barry and after Barry. So Foley was BB. AB, or after Barry, I think one of the main things we see Bart here is just don't screw up. Just don't. The number one rule. Everybody talking. I'm talking to Barry. I should have brought my prop glasses today. I didn't bring them. Then don't have them. Everybody who's listening to me is Barry. Just focus. Number one rule for everybody: don't screw up. No more crazy ad mistakes. Let's try not to really tick off our customer base. Let's divest out of some things that were bad for us. Let's invest in some things that we think are good for us. Let's focus on those areas. Let's not screw up. That's the unwritten rule, number one. Bart's got it well in hand here. So let's review 2022. What kind of occurred? When we got a few areas that we're going to span. First one is product launches. Product, if in quotes, the all-powerful air quote, using all of its superpowers here. The heart rate band in January. We're going to talk about everything. Some of this stuff is not exciting, but it's what we have. Yeah, you got to dig deep sometimes. I mean, if I did not dig deep, this would be a very short slide, and maybe realistically it should be a very short slide, but let's dig deep. Heart rate band. Sold a few of those, maybe. I don't know. Lane break. Okay, that's the gamified Mario Brothers game for the bike that some folks use, and I've seen some people really like it. I played it. It was fine, but it wasn't something I was ever going to return and play again and again and again. Rentals, the one Peloton club where you could rent a bike as part of various fitness as a service paradigm that he's attempting to push. Rentals came out and are still active, so you can still rent a bike. So again, this is using the all-powerful air quotes here for product. This was something that was launched, rentals. Guide. Guide was launched. If you've watched my previous videos, I have some feedback on what I view as Guide. The feedback has diminished, or the negative feedback has diminished a little bit since rep counting, but we're going to jump away from this slide just for a second and just talk briefly about Guide, because there was something else not on this launch program which conceivably was there at one point in time. Guide, I think we know, all of us can, I think between all of us watching this, I think we can all agree upon that Guide as a standalone device can be seen as kind of useless. What's it do that the app doesn't? Not a whole lot, especially before rep counting. And at $295, if it's something like $49, $99, all the bad things I would say about Guide would go out the window. So if Peloton, if you're listening, my bad feedback about Guide would probably all go out the window if this thing was just listed for $49. Because you can buy a Roku stick, or I think Amazon has a stick, right? Whatever their stick is called. Those things are, they basically sell them for almost nothing because they want people to subscribe to the content. The Guide, if you look at the internals are readily available either by tearing that down yourself or looking at teardowns or simply looking at the patent. The Guide is not a lot different from a Roku stick or an Amazon stick or a webcam. There's no special component in there, to my knowledge, that makes it worthy of $295. It should be selling it for $49, $39, and getting people hooked on the $24 subscription. Should be giving it away, $295. Anyway, I didn't mean to spend so much time on Guide. Let's skip ahead. What Guide, I think, when it was envisioned and when it was being developed and through the manufacturing process, and this is in one of my other videos, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I think this was meant to be a companion to a product that would launch soon after, and that is a Vitruvian or an Arena platform strength device. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But I think Guide would have been 100% a useful product because these platform devices don't have a display. So you'd have your television screen and your Guide tracking your form in conjunction with a strength platform. But all consensus now says that this strength platform is non-existent now. It's been fully canceled. I've not run into any piece of data or any of my contacts who've said we still think this is a viable product in the development stream. All appearances say that this is not. So now we still have Guide. Where does that leave Guide? Without a companion device, it leaves it on an aisle of Misfit toys. What is it? It's a very expensive Misfit toy. It's sitting over here. I want to be a dentist. With all the other trains with wings and airplane and boats with wheels and everything else on the aisle of Misfit toys. What? They're selling a few, but I think Guide's purpose in life was to be a companion to the platform, and the platform is gone. So now we just have Guide as Guide, and it's not a whole lot more powerful. Anyway, let's go back to the product launches. So I spend it the entire time in Guide. Just work out. The app has a feature where you don't necessarily have to listen to the instructor content. You can just say, I'm going on a bike ride, outside bike ride, and it tracks your mileage, kind of like any fitness tracker. I think this is an underestimated, powerful feature of the app. And I talked about it in one of my previous videos. Self-assembly, which I actually tipped off in August, but in November we saw how that was useful. It was useful in the Amazon launch, and that they're selling bikes on Amazon, self-assembled, obviously, so they don't have to deal with XPO and JB Hunt and that whole thing, as well as their own logistics network, which they killed. We'll talk about that in a second. Row, sizable launch. Pop-up ads, again, product, powerful, air quotes here. Pop-up ads now in some of these videos at the end. You can see a pop-up box that says, we'll email you what the instructor is wearing. I tipped off the pop-up aspect actually in July for this. They implemented something in November for this. I think we're going to see more use of the pop-up, not necessarily ad-centered, but they need to work on these ads if they're really going to use them. Right now, I feel like it's a one-on-one level effort. Okay. Tread in Australia in December. Good. Get those people some tread. Sadly, Row is still U.S. and Guide is not available in Germany. We don't know why. And in 23, they've done the CPOs, certified pre-owned or the refurbished or used machines. They've had minor launches in the past. Just recently, they've kind of done a full launch of the CPO program. So that is now out there, and that's part of Barry's FAS or Fitness as a Service, along with rentals that we talked about earlier. That is what we're looking at for like 2022-ish areas. The big ones obviously are taking it for what it's worth. The hard worth stuff is Guide and Row. And then a whole lot of struggling to make Peloton a profitable company again. And can they get their heads above water to actually do anything else in 2023 other than, I mean, a year from now, if I did this video, right now I have, and these are loosely, we have, I don't know, but 10 or so on here. Am I going to have 3? Am I going to have 2? Let's go to the next one. Corporate news. Barry, a CEO, Foley goes off and he goes to the board of directors. Then John Foley leaves the board of directors, and then John Foley, with some other founders, decide to make rugs. I mean, that's not a joke if you don't follow the news. He's now making rugs. Project Tin Man. I'm not there. We could put a whole bunch of lawsuits and stuff up here. I thought this was the most interesting of the controversies that occurred in 2022. Project Tin Man is that there appeared Peloton seemingly was taking in used bikes and spray painting some rust spots, and allegedly, let me make sure I get that out there, allegedly then selling them as new. So fortunately, I don't think any of us have not seen any news on Project Tin Man in a long, long time. So hopefully that whole thing was corrected properly by Peloton. There was a production pause. We're all aware of that. Thousands have been laid off of Peloton through a series of downsizings announcements. They exited manufacturing and logistics. Peloton Output Park, their homegrown Ohio plant that they were building, was got essentially to the stage where they built the outside structure, and then it was simply canceled. Tonic Fitness, their Taiwan, wholly owned Taiwan manufacturer, they shuttered that. That's still closed to my knowledge. And they added Pegatron to Rexon to make the Row. So now they're using Rexon and Pegatron. And then a number, and I did a tweet on this, but there's probably up to a dozen very high-level execs who have left Peloton. We don't have the knowledge to say whether they left on their own accord or whether they were encouraged to leave. But there was a sweeping change in the C-suite level of Peloton over the last year under Barry's reign. Retail news. Again, there's a recap of 2022. And if you're familiar with all these, I apologize. You don't need to hear all this stuff. But for those people who don't know all the key things that happened last year, it's a good review. Drastic showroom closures are planned for 2023. We've already seen, or at least I've recorded 3 that have shut down already. It's January 4th today. So in the first 4 days, already 3 have been taken off. 1 in the US, 1 in Canada, 1 in Germany. And my estimation is, it's not based on any data, but right now we're standing at around 122 open stores worldwide. I think we're going to get under 30 easily. It's just a matter of the working out the leases and whatnot. But Peloton just does not have the demand to to make this retail space profitable at this current place. So they just need some flagship stores stationed around the world in large city centers. They added more retail channels. This was certainly bigger news. Amazon in the UK and Germany, eBay for the used bike. These are not certified pre-owned. These are just kind of like Peloton gets them and turns them around and places them on eBay and kind of as-is policy. So those are available in the UK and Germany. Dick's Sporting Goods, which has certainly Amazon was a big play in the retail channel, but Dick's actually gives people a hands-on presence where they can actually go and look at a Peloton bike in the absence of Peloton stores, showrooms. So that's good, as well as they could pick up same day. You can't really pick up same day bikes easily anywhere else, it's just through Amazon. You just got to wait for the normal delivery cycle. And then they did some wholesale dumps, and I think these are limited. My opinion is these are limited span. They had a lot of extra barbells and a lot of extra T-shirts and a lot of extra whatever, and they just backed up the trucks to DC and just disgorged all this stuff into a warehouse and told the people in charge of the warehouse, whoever you can get to take this stuff, here it is. We're essentially dropping it off almost for free. We just got too much of it. And so those people have then turned around and sent it off to Woot, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, outlets like that. I don't think there's a permanent relationship. I could be wrong. But I think once Peloton is just getting rid of the excess inventory, and once it dries up in all these stores, these aren't permanent fixtures that we'll be seeing Peloton branded merchandise in. Once it's gone, it's gone. That's my opinion. Pricing news. We had some early in the year, in 2022, we had some healthy price cuts. And then 2 or 3 months later, after Barry took charge, it was just kidding. Not only are the price cuts reversed, but actually, I think it was on Bike Plus, actually went up to a price higher than it was previously. All Access went to $39 to $44. They're currently doing an agile digital app pricing special where you get 10 months or 12 months for the price of 10. And that ends, I believe, on February 16th. I think I'm close anyway. I think it's February 16th, if memory serves. And then that kind of ties into the next one, app tiering. And this has been talked about in videos, and I think everyone's familiar with this. This is coming soon. Again, I just wanted to put this on the pricing slide. There'll be some price changes with the tiering system. And I would say with the annual digital app pricing ending around February 16th, I think you could probably expect to see an end for that $12.99 monthly payment level. So I think the annual people are going to get away happy. I would not be shocked if on February 17th, that $12.99 tier, however it's future defined, I've done some stuff on that. I believe they're going to be called App Plus and App Essential. I think the $12.99 is going to go to something else. $19.99 and some things are going to be switched, but this is not an app tiering examination video. Getting to the end here of major news items for 2022. Content news. We had some live scheduling changes. They rejiggered the schedule. I don't think to anyone's happiness. No one seemed happy with why they were taking away like daily 6 a.m. rides and evening rides. More instructors, fewer classes. I don't have hard data on this. I used to track classes very, very closely, but Peloton tightened some areas up and it wasn't as easy to track, so I don't do it any further. But I think any of us who are Peloton members, this is anecdotal evidence. I think all of us look at the schedule and we're just like, man, they keep hiring instructors. But I feel like the daily class count is going down. It's not going up. I can tell you right now, it's not going up. So not only do we have scheduling classes, we have more instructors, but I sure seems like there's even fewer live classes. Why is that? No one was happy with the scheduling changes. I don't think anyone was happy with that. Even some of the instructors went on their social platforms and said, we're going to roll with it. I don't really understand it and I don't get it. We're going to roll with it. For something that's a fixed cost, they are paying the instructors, they're paying the studio time. It is open. why isn't Mary Sue doing 8 workouts a week, period, end of story? And they have 50, 60 instructors now. Their life schedule is so sparse. I don't get it. And to be honest with you, as a member, I'm not happy with it at all. Long form content. They made some long form content initiatives. Fitness Flip podcast, On the Leaderboard, that was the Ashton Kutcher thing. Our Future Selves, that was with, I think, largely Olivia and LOL Cody. That was their long form content endeavor in 2022. I guess I'll leave my personal commentary on all those, which I've taken to one extent or another, or listened to it to one extent or another. I'll leave it with, I don't feel like any of these were successful. And I'll leave it there. I'm not interested in going any further than that. So looking forward, and now we're kind of getting into where do we go from here? It was not a great 2022. We did have some launches. We didn't have a lot of screw ups. We had some, but it seemed like the amount of screw ups that we had was less than what it has been traditionally, historically, which is a good thing. But looking forward, we're going to have some store closures. We're going to have this app tiering. We don't have, Peloton has never provided a hardware roadmap. Are we going to see any hardware in 2023? And I am not necessarily saying it's a fault of Peloton being lazy. I don't. That's not the case. But they have a lot of things going on right now, and their priorities are on making the company profitable, and that's where their priorities need to be. But at the end of this, we'll circle back. Is there going to be a different lane break video game aspect? Tread Plus is still, again, it goes to the roadmap discussion. None of us know as members what Tread Plus is. You see people online every single day saying, every time Peloton launches something, there's always a few commenters who are like, that's great, but where's Tread Plus? People love Tread Plus. And the last news we had was they extended their recall notice or rebate out to November 2023. But man, I think everyone just asked themselves, how is it so hard to put a plastic shield on the back of that Tread Plus and reissue it again? I think that's the universal question. And I've done some patent stuff where there's fancy laser beams and cameras that have a 360 view that their manufacturing partner is putting out. But all of us, to our core, who really think Tread Plus was the single best treadmill ever marketed and ever produced, and at a price point that people were willing to pay. They were willing to pay the premium price for that Tread Plus. It deserves every dollar that premium price. The Bike Plus, questionable. Guide, questionable. Bike, I think they could still be selling that thing for $699. Questionable. That Tread Plus, though, that was a machine worth $4,000 or $5,000. And everyone's just like, how hard is it to put a plastic shield on the back of the Tread Plus? How hard is it really? And Peloton has gone, we're getting close to like 2 years with no communication other than when us and CSPC work something out, we'll let you know. And this is where I want to come back to where I was. Well, we'll finish this up. Are they going to sell their $400 million venture in Ohio for Peloton Outlook Park? They didn't ultimately invest $400 million. But are they going to sell that thing, which then would return somewhere, in my guess, between $70 and $100 million with the land and the structure that's there? Are they going to sell Tonic Fitness / Mactonic, their Taiwan manufacturer that they've shuttered? And what are they doing with Precor? There's a lot of money sitting on the table here. We know they're trying to sell Peloton Output Park. You can go online and see the sales notices. You could buy it yourself if you have $80 million. You can take it off their hands and help the investors out. Tonic Fitness, we have no idea what they're talking about. And Precor, they've really said boo about Precor. We don't know what's going on with Precor and Peloton. My point here is I feel as members and investors, and like I said earlier in the call, that's how I'm approaching this, is we're not given a lot of direction of where the company plans to go. The company has the privilege of not telling us. But I will tell you that Peloton became what Peloton was based upon excitement and word of mouth. That is what propelled Peloton to the level, to its peak level, of which we're past right now. And when you shut the mouths of everyone at Peloton and you simply don't advise on, you know what, 2023, the back half of 2023, we've got a piece of hardware coming out that you are not going to believe. Now, they're scared that it's going to suspend sales of something, and what have you. 2025, we've got 8 video games coming out. That's great. That's not going to decrease sales of anything. Tell us that. Tell us something. Give us some hope as investors and members that this company is viable and has a roadmap, has a plan past the belt tightening. We all know you're occupied right now with belt tightening, reducing your labor force, reducing costs like logistics and manufacturing, reducing headcount. We know you're doing that. But to the masses who buy the product, none of those things that I just mentioned, logistics, headcounts, retail store closures, failed Peloton output park, manufacturing, none of that means anything to the guy on the street, the gal on the street. Zero. It is invisible to them, this corporate newsy stuff that Peloton has spent a year doing, and we assume they probably need another year to kind of dig themselves out. It's not giving any excitement to the community or to potential customers. Peloton, I'm making an appeal. I don't do that. I don't ever do this on Twitter. I don't tag. I don't mention. I don't list people's names with @ signs or dollar signs or pound signs. But I'm making an appeal to you, Peloton. Open your books up. And by books, I'm not talking your financial accounting books. Excite the community. Tell us what you're planning after this belt tightening phase. Give us a hint. Because excitement is at a low. People are not happy with the class rescheduling. They're not happy with how few live classes there are, even though that's a fixed cost. People should be cranking those out. There should be 15 or 20 live classes every single day. Give us something to look forward to. Don't rely on myself or Pello Buddy to kind of search into the corners of the internet to find things that we then post that only reach a limited audience. Tell us what your plans are. Open up your books. And again, I'm not interested in your IP. I don't want you to tip off something that Hydro's gonna then beat you to the punch about. But give us something to be excited about, because the excitement's gone. We have the bike and we have the tread. And we have the row, which we all know is going to be a limited niche product. It's everyone I've spoken to says they really like the row. I would love to have a row. But it's never going to reach a broad-based audience. Tell us about your corporate wellness efforts. Hey, you got big plans there? Tell us anything to get our hopes up, investors or members. Because right now, we're just seeing the news. You fired some more people. And you launched Guide is aisle and Misfit toys and Lane Break. Just work out. Row was good. Give you a row. Where's Tread? Give us some hint as to what Tread is doing. That doesn't ruin anyone's IP. Give us a hint. Get the community excited about something. Get the investors excited about something. Tell us, even if you're wrong, you can preface it and saying, we might be wrong, but we've got good news, Peloton community. Tread Plus. I think we finally developed a plastic shroud. It took us 1.5 years, 2 years to do it. But we're looking at August 2023, and all y'all can buy Tread Pluses. Give us something. Don't keep it all so close to the chest. Because I'm looking at this recap of 2022, and I'm forward thinking to myself, what am I going to be recapping in 2023? I feel like as much things as I had here, and some were negative, some were positive, some were indifferent. I think in January 2024, I'm going to come on and say, I don't know what they did. They got profitable. God bless them. They're now they made a profit of $17 million last quarter, but they didn't do anything else. Okay, that's good. Let's buy some more Peloton stock. We don't know what they're doing. Last year they spent just doing stuff to their books. They hired lots of accountants. Don't put us in that position. Just please don't. So anyway, we got down here to the last thing, or they just looking forward, or are they just gonna do more belt tightening? And Barry said by the end of 2023, which is now, or 2022, which is now past us, he planned to be cash flow positive at Peloton. We won't know that for another month or so when they report, or how close he is. And I certainly, as a Peloton fan, I hope he's close. I hope he actually makes Peloton profit. I hope all these cost-cutting measures and sales initiatives and undumping excess stock on the market, I hope all of these have contributed to getting Peloton closer to that goal. And then they can start working on things that are more exciting for the community. Because if they didn't get closer to that, we're going to see a year of accounting. And to that last point of the slide is when would Barry ultimately say, hey, I came out of retirement for this Peloton gig? It's not working out. And like I said in previous videos, so far I've been a fan. I think Barry has done what he's needed to do to get cash flow positive. I think he could have done more. I think prices could have gone down even more. I think, and to what I just talked about, I think he could have opened up the books more to excite buyers or potential buyers. But I think Barry has the chops to do this. But I just fear what this slide deck would look like in 2024, because I just don't know what's coming in 2023 as much as I do research. I just don't. I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of things I'm tracking or will be tracking or have tracked, or some correlations that are coming together. And for 2023, all my arrows that point in various directions doing the various things, and none of them are like connecting in 2023, or very few of them. It doesn't excite me. It's too bad. So we're kind of leaving here with a question. Then, like I said, we're going to end up this slide with more questions. A little bit different video from my other videos. But how do you hold a moonbeam in your hand? Tell us the secret. If you know it, tell us the secret, because investors and members would love to know. Share us what vision you have, because we've got a problem. Her name is Maria. Oh, I wish I could play that song. It's such a good song. Honey's not a problem like Maria. Good. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I realize it's a little bit different from usual, and we'll get back to normal once we get some Harvard data to digest here. But appreciate you tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.